was alone, but I wasn't scared. I was at the church, and I saw something wonderful. I saw angels, and they were singing to me.
When Colton was almost 4, we had just went through a very challenging hardship with Todd. He had broken his leg playing softball of all things, and then he ended up having kidney stones, and then he had a cancer scare. After all of that, we thought we were at the end of our hardship and testing, and so we decided to go on a trip to Denver. So we ended up going to the Butterfly Pavilion.
Oh, there he is.
But by that night, Colton was thrown up. He was feeling bad, and then it went to worse. And then we took him to the hospital, and that's when we found out he was in bad shape.
And we had to take him into emergency surgery. Of course, a lot of mistakes were made leading up to that time, and by the time he was in surgery, his body was almost septic from an appendix that at that point in time had probably been ruptured for at least 5 days. And so the doctors weren't giving us any hope.
Stay right there, please.
When they wheeled him away, we didn't know if we would ever see him again. We spent 15 days in that hospital, just heart-wrenching days. We went through 2 surgeries. He was in ICU, and just praying for a miracle.
You're gonna take my boy? Don't you take my son? Don't you take my son!
It was in that very scary moment where we were crying out to God, "Oh God, please save my son," that my son talks about making a trip to heaven. He talks about closing his eyes, opening his eyes, and seeing Jesus and angels with him in the hospital.
I started lifting up out of my body. I didn't know what was happening. But I could look down and I saw my body on the operating table, and I saw my dad in one room and my mom in another. I was scared, but I ended up on Jesus' lap, and he and the angels sing to me to calm me down.
Colton, you know who I am? You're not afraid.
Nobody here wants to hurt me.
Heaven, it's like the perfect version of Earth, so there's no worrying. It feels like home. You feel safe there.
There's no way the things he says about heaven are things a child can make up. He talks not only about things that a 4-year-old would never know that the scripture said.
And you saw Jesus?
He has markers right here, and right here, and right here, and right here.
He talks about my past even, and gets all the information right, and I know I didn't tell him. He says, "Well, Dad, Jesus showed me."
Colton.
That's him. That's Pop. In heaven, everybody's young.
A majority of the time, in heaven, what people will do is they will come up to you and introduce themselves, and that's usually how the conversation starts. Because in heaven, you don't know who anybody is. It's kind of like moving to a new town. You don't know who anybody is, but they know who you are.
With everything that Colton has told us, it has definitely strengthened our faith because it validates what we believe in.
Heaven is absolutely real. It's not a hope. Now, it's something we can hope for. We can hope in the obvious, in the sense that it's a for sure deal. I think faith is the big question, because faith is not just your intellect, it's about your heart too. And when you watch this film, your heart's door will be knocked on emotionally and experientially and intellectually, because faith is a combination of all that.